Bonjour à tous, je suis ravie de vous avoir aujourd'hui pour le Grenoble Indian Film Festival. Nous avons aujourd'hui quelqu'un de très intéressant avec nous, une productrice, réalisatrice, mais qui vient du monde de la finance. Et donc, elle a démarré le monde de la finance, elle est passée productrice, réalisatrice avec ce court-métrage qu'elle nous a gentiment donné pour le Grenoble Indian Film Festival. Et son profil est très intéressant. Elle est également actrice. Tous ces différents métiers, nous la retrouvons avec tous ces différents métiers dans le travail qu'elle a fait en tant que productrice. Elle a travaillé avec les plus grands. Elle a produit des films tels que Basée, qui est allé au Festival de Busan. Elle a produit donc l'IRAF, qui a également voyagé dans le grand festival avec donc Tanisha Chatterjee. Elle a coproduit ce film avec Marc Bachet, qui était le producteur de No Man's Land, qui a eu l'Oscar, bien sûr. Donc voilà, sa recherche de film n'est pas conventionnelle. C'est assez original, son approche et sa façon de travailler, ses choix de films, assez éclectique et en même temps un choix bien réfléchi. Donc, pour nous, voilà, c'est un profil extrêmement intéressant pour nous de vous présenter Namita Lal. Et je vais parler maintenant en anglais et discuter avec elle et lui poser quelques questions. Voilà. So, Namita, I'm switching to English. Maybe you caught a few words. I'm delighted to have you at Grenoble Indian Film Festival.
Thank you.
Your film as a filmmaker. And I was just saying that you were in finance. You go from finance. Now, this is something that we've seen. Preeti Rati Gupta went from finance to creating her production house and produce some wonderful films. So you go from finance and then you're going into production, but you're also an actor. You've been in theater. So there's all that, all these different aspects. And you're thinking now, how can I do a bit of everything? Knowing that there's so much hard work that goes into production, into filmmaking, but I always see you singing and smiling wherever you are, and I wonder how she does it.
Well, I think if you really enjoy all the stuff that I'm doing, if you enjoy dancing and singing and writing and directing and acting, you know, the smile comes. You know, even if one is sad, if I'm sad, and I think of, I just put on some music and I start dancing, and the smile comes. So it's pretty easy to smile once you decide that you're always going to smile.
And then we had this wonderful, funny moment where I contacted you for the thing we were doing with doctors. And I said, would you sing us a song? And then you sang us a song from Bobby, which was exactly in keeping with do not go out and do not come in. I mean, you used that humor, your sense of humor. And I was like, this positivity is so interesting. You know, it's so important in these difficult moments, like we were mentioning a few minutes ago, to keep this positivity, to keep going forward with your projects, etc. It's quite unusual. You must admit it is quite unusual to have a profile like yours in the industry.
Yes, I mean, I've not come across a career banker move into doing crazy things that I'm doing, leaving a very, very you know, a good career right at the top. Somebody yesterday met me and he was introducing me and he said she just stormed out of her bank in Singapore one day and said, I'm going to Kashmir and shooting a film, and left everything behind. And I said, well, it wasn't like that, but it was very close, very close. So yes, I think there comes a time in your life when you just decide you got to go, you got to do it.
So that was the right moment for you.
Yes, I think when I started doing theater and I did this play called The Half, which was such an iconic story written by an amazing woman writer in 1940s India. It was same sex. It was 1920s. I did it on stage in Singapore, which still had 377, section 377 prohibiting same sex, and they've just removed it. And we did it on stage, and then had to get a film offered in the same role, playing a masseuse, having a relationship with a queen of 1920s India. There's that opportunity comes only once. The director said, "You want to play the role?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And I landed up in Srinagar in Kashmir during pretty tough times for Kashmir. And I shot the film first time in front of the camera, and the bug caught on big time. Since then, I've done about 6 feature films, and I left everything else behind.
6 feature films that have all been doing well. These are unusual projects, original ideas and choices. How do you choose these? How do you go about choosing projects?
So when I started off, I was very fortunate to have partners such as Abhay, who was coming up with Bhosle. I met Manoj. I loved the story of Bhosle. I was just about to start a film company then, while I was a banker, and I decided to come in as a team for Bhosle. Lihaf was a story very close to my heart, and Rahat Kazmi was looking for co-producers, and I became very involved in the journey of the film, along with getting creative producers like Mark Basée on board. And from then onwards, every time I heard a story like My Goal Football, where I play a village woman in Jammu who used to play football, gets married, and then starts coaching a young boy, not so young boy, but letting him or helping him live his dreams. That was shot in a little village in Jammu. Oxygen in a little village, again on corruption and the grayness of corruption. So stories which are very fascinating, which are rarely told, as in the form of independent cinema. A lot of that is happening. So I like a story if there are 3-4 co-producers who want to come together. It's not very big budgets, and they're shot in amazing locations in India. So it's not very expensive to do it when you shoot in a Punch and a Jammu in a village. And so I become part of it, and I love adventure, and I love these stories. So I just fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Country of Blind, Before Life, After Death is a film we did in Singapore, very, very close to my heart, on mental health, teenage pregnancy, and again, an Indian story out of Singapore, just shot and finished recently. So it's all these stories which are which touch the heart, which are human relationships. I'm very fond of understanding all kinds of
so social issues as well, these questions that are in society and that are affecting each and every one of us living in a society where things are complex and issues are there. And then that's another way of facing them, saying, well, I'm producing this film and this is my contribution to how to tackle this thing. Is that a little bit of your...
Yes, tell the story. Let people make out whatever. I'm a very don't judge kind of person, and everybody has a story, and as they impact human relationships, that's what I'm interested in. I'm not so interested in religion or politics, but I'm very interested in social issues which impact relationships, which influence relationships, and how they develop. So I love those. So human drama.
Namita, you saw that after 32 years, halls have opened in Kashmir.
Yes.
And tell me, because you've been there.
Yes, I have shot in all corners of Jammu and Kashmir. And one of my director producer partners, Rahat Kazmi, had made a film called Side A and Side B about how a bunch of people, kind of preserve a DVD, if you remember DVDs, and they watch it every day because the theaters shut down in Jammu and Kashmir. And for theaters to open there, for films to be shown there, for this lot of shooting happening there, the Jammu Kashmir government is giving a lot of encouragement and subsidies for films to be shot there. So I think it's a beautiful development, because all our films had a lot of local talent, not only local crew, but a lot of local artists. In fact, 2 or 3 of my films have only Jammu Kashmir actors and just me and somebody else from outside. But those people are so passionate about telling a story and acting. Oh my God. you know, when you shoot a film in a village, there's like easily 100, 200 people following you around. So they're very passionate about cinema. Yeah. And so I'm so happy that they can go watch our films in the theaters, and that would be so nice.
You know what? When we invited Yash Chopra and we did a special tribute at Marrakesh Film Festival, this is in 2005. And I'm sitting with Mr. Chopra and we're discussing, and I'm saying, like, you know, I read that there's a lake in Switzerland, which is the Chopra Lake. And I said, is this true? And he told me, yeah. But you know why? We started, when there was all these problems going on in Kashmir, we decided to just move to Switzerland. That's how it all began. And he said, you know, Kashmir has been so close to my heart. And because we used to go and shoot there initially, that's where everybody went to shoot. And it was so practical for us just to, you know, go up north. And then all this happens, and we need to move all the way to Europe to go shoot our films. So now, thinking of all this, that you're saying this, and obviously you who've shot there often in Kashmir, it's completely making sense. So even the Kashmiri filmmakers, what a wonderful thing for them right now.
Wonderful thing for them, absolutely. And there are a whole lot of them who love to make films there. And the locations in Kashmir, apart from the ones we know, but if you go in the north, up north in Dudhpatri, where we shot Country of Blind, which has just been opened to the public about four, five years back, but it rivals any place in Switzerland. So I just hope we open it responsibly and then keep it and preserve it but are able to tell our stories from there. It would be lovely. Gulmarg, Sonmarg, oh my God.
Right.
Yeah, they are really beautiful. Yeah.
So it's good that the government is encouraging, you know, people to go shoot there and stuff. Some things are moving in this direction for cinema, which is interesting. It's good, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
First multiplex, I think, Inox. First multiplex for them. Good. So that's super positive. That's super positive. Now, coming back to your film, you decide, okay, producer, actress, and then comes a moment where you decide, okay, I've written my story. I'm making this up. Okay, you're going to tell me which is what happened. I'm writing my story. I'm going to direct, and I want to be in this film. Or you didn't find, you know, a person, maybe an actor. You then decide to be the actor and direct the film, or you know, did not have the person you wanted to direct the film, and then you said, no, I'm going to direct this film. So I'm making up these weird scenarios. A, B, and C.
Multiple choice. It's a bit of B. Now it's basically I have a lot of stories in my head, and I write a lot. I write
good.
Poetry. I like to write a lot of stories. Every time I meet somebody, and if I find the story interesting, I do come home and I start writing it. So I've got a lot of stories, and I've got scripts, ultimately a feature film script, which I've been writing for the longest time, doing multiple drafts with the help of some of my French friends, etc., European friends. So, and then I have the short stories, which are very interesting to me. So X is a story that it was always in my head, and then one day I just wrote a script around it. And it's every time I speak to some of my friends, everybody has an X, right? Everybody has an X. And everybody has this dilemma in their head about should we or should we not? And with this whole social media thing happening, we always want to click that add friend button, but we are always thinking, should we not? So I actually did a bit of research, and there's some very interesting statistics on the net on some major research has been done about the kind of stuff that happens if you contact your ex or get in touch with the ex. So with that in mind, it's a very personal story. In a sense, it's autobiographical because I have an ex which I've never got in touch with again. But there's always this temptation, you know, especially when you see his friends and they are your friends and they talk to you about him and you say, why can't we just be friends? So I wrote this, and then I auditioned a few people for the actor because I wanted to direct it, that's for sure, because I wanted to use this opportunity to get to know about direction. After having done 4 or 5 films in Kashmir, etc., I got very interested in the whole art of direction, and I want to go through the whole editing, sound, music, and all that. So I wanted to do that, but then I auditioned, and then my partner Rahat, who plays my ex in this film, who was helping me with the project, and Shoaib, his younger brother, who I've also done some films with, they said, we can't find anybody who is expressing the emotions the way you express it when you talk about the film. And then I said, my God, direction and acting. And then I didn't have time. I wanted to do it in a certain space of time when I was in India. And I said, okay, I'll act. And then I told Rahat, you come and do the role. He was my director for Lehaf, and he agreed to do. And I made him do a one-day workshop, because I said, you're not going to touch the technical aspects of direction. You're just going to be an actor. And he loves to be an actor. So he was kind enough to spend a whole day workshopping that role with me, alone in a.
So is this Rahat's past as an actor? He has been an actor?
He has done a few acting things, but he's done a few small acting stuff in Mantustan, etc. But this was the first time somebody told him, because he's done it in his own films. Somebody told him, it's the first time that somebody else was directing him. So it's the first time somebody said, you do a workshop with me, because it involved some amount of intimacy with me. And I said that you're not going to be able to do it on set. So you will have to do it beforehand. And you will have to do it alone. I took permission from his wife, who I know really well, that are you okay with him to do a scene, like this with me? And then I just booked a day in Mud Island. It's crazy that I stay in that part of Mumbai now, but I had no idea. But these people helped me book a bungalow, and I had one day of shooting this film. But because I'd worked on the script so much, and it was so much in my being, that I was able to just imagine it, envision it, and just shoot it, because we got into all kinds of Congress rally, and everybody got delayed, and then everything here goes into shifts, and they said if you go into the next day, you're going to double up the cost, and I didn't want to spend that much money. But having said that, it was just, I wanted to direct. This was definitely my script. I acted in it because after looking at 2-3 other actors, it just wasn't working out. And finally I did it. I said action, and I did the action myself. And it was quite a fascinating experience, because
yes, because it's not it's obviously not the usual story, but it's also, you're getting into your first thing that you're directing. I mean, it's difficult. It's quite a sensitive kind of a thing. You can't just, you could totally mess up. You could, right? You could just go in the wrong direction, and then the thing coming across to the people would not be correct. So yeah, you're right that everything needed to be completely in place, because the intimacy needed to sound right too, look right.
Yes. And that's the thing in India, you can easily land up it looking a little amiss, a little vulgar, a little. So it had to be done with the amount of sensitivity that I wanted. Even the last scene, if you see the film, I'm not going to spoil the scene, but everything had to be, and it was again in India, you get an all-male crew. I was a director and actor. My husband actor, who's a TV series actor, who I hadn't been able to brief beforehand, but I did put him in a room and briefed him for about an hour while waiting for the crew to arrive. Got really nervous because again, he had some scenes with me, which he got very nervous about, but he was okay. And the crew, they were quite fascinated to see somebody say action. And then I told the cameraman that, count to 10 before you roll the camera, but I'm going to count to 10 before I start my scene. So it was quite an experience first film to be director, actor, and writer, and squeeze it into literally about 8 hours of shoot.
So super intense, right?
Very intense, very intense. But it was good that I had already thought of what the film would look like in the end. So it was a great experience. I think Rahat asked me to direct some more stuff for him.
Oh, good.
If I have the time and opportunity, I would love to. do some more direction and to get my hands. Yeah, because I think a director's job is really difficult.
It is, isn't it?
Very difficult because it doesn't finish with the shoot, and I had to sit in the edit for hours. Like I would be stuck in an editing room with the editor for 14 hours for almost a week. I forgot food and just tea and the thing, and then the music and all of that stuff. So yeah, but it's just an addictive experience again.
It is, isn't it? And then obviously there's the promo. Now, when you bring out and you put that film out, so what do people say? Oh gosh, so coming from you, this is so different from what you've done. Or what are the reactions? How do people react?
The reactions were amazing. I mean, a lot of people, especially with the kind of where it leads to in the end. A lot of people get surprised. A lot of people were like, woo, I mean, you could actually do a theme like that and not make it look over the top, and vulgar. And the relationship and the emotion comes out. I think that's what I was told. It comes out really beautifully. I mean, the whole leading to the whole situation is, it does come out nicely. I was quite happy with it, and people were very, very complimentary about it. And it's a short film. It's 14 minutes, so I got a lot of kudos for it. So I was very happy because with debut direction, you never know. And then MX Player, they're showcasing it, and they bought it. So it's really very, very. It's a happy moment for me.
Good.
And I sent it out during COVID time, so I didn't put it in any festivals because all the festivals were all over the place. So I'm honored that this would literally be my world premiere.
Oh,
so
we're super happy.
Yes.
Really grateful to you, huh? Super grateful to you. No, because for us it's important because see, we're showing so many different types of cinema, and then we had never. It's only our 6th year. So it's been 3 years without any short films. COVID comes, and these 3 years completely with short films.
Yeah.
And we're even thinking of saying, well, next year, why don't we create a short film award? A proper award for short films, because without short films, there would be no features. People are trying out their craft. They are working super hard and slogging to bring that short film out, to put in everything they got, so that it's giving them a little bit of strength and courage to say, okay, well, I am writing my feature, but am I worth it? Can I do it? There's so many of these questions, so much of hard work in getting the whole team together, of a pre-trial of what the feature is going to be, a taste. You've tried out producer, you know what's going to be on a feature. But see, most people going into the shorts are like, people don't imagine how hard it is.
Oh yeah, oh my God. Which is why I'm on the 8th draft of my feature, because I now realize unless I get the script down to titch, it's going to get very difficult and very expensive and crazy. So I totally get what they're saying now about why Bollywood films are not doing well in train, because the script is not something they don't pay attention to. Because I realized with that one film how important the script is and how important the script writer is. So to get as many script doctors to look at your script. So I'm not going to make my feature in a hurry now. I used to think I'll start putting it out and pitching it in a hurry, but I know I'm going to do several drafts before I start even pitching it, because that's how important the script is. If you can imagine, and that short film taught me that things can go very wrong while you're doing the shoot. If you don't have a script which is watertight and you're confident about it, you can really make a lot of mistakes, and makes it that much easier on the editing table if you've shot it correctly. So I think I'm going to spend a lot of time on any script that I do.
Because don't you feel that if you've gone wrong and had a hesitation, because I don't have this experience of working on a feature. So, but if you've written it with the hesitation, you keep writing, you say, okay, no, leave it, never mind, I'll just keep going. You finish the film, and then you bring it out, you got the people, you found a producer, you've been lucky, etc. Okay, well, it's gone. You found a producer. On set, there will be someone who's going to pinpoint and find that moment where you skipped, and they're going to put their finger on that, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. And it happens in all the other independent films that I've shot. There is a lot of scurrying around for scenes which have not been probably written the way they should have been, because they just added a scene or they didn't spend that much time on it, and that's what takes the longest time and the biggest effort and the most amount of money. So I think that what the people in Europe and the US, if we are going to learn something from that part of the world, it is really to focus on the script and then the budget. Just keep those things very tight, but work on the script so that when you're done with it, you're very confident. After that, whatever you do is, script is the first stage, the end of the script is the first stage of the shoot, and then it goes from there. But at least you're sure that you spent a lot of effort on the script and you're okay to go in front of the camera. But so this short film was a huge revelation to me.
It showed you something. It brought something to you, a new dimension to say, okay, you need to focus on this or that.
Yes.
And it's hard.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Oh yeah. Many things. Yeah.
Because see, this year we're celebrating the 9th anniversary of the Lunchbox. Now I posted that on one of my Facebook things, and I was just thinking, the other night, I was just thinking, my goodness, simple, so simple, so smooth, but the work in writing must have been crazy.
Yeah, I know Mark very well, Mark Basée, who was the producer of Lunchbox, one of the many producers, because he's one of the producers in Le Havre, and he has taught me a lot about how much effort goes into a script, because I think they were on that script, which is an extremely simple, when you look at it, you think,
look at it. Is it just the appearance? But behind that, there's
2 years,
complexity.
I think more than 2 years of work on the script. And
it's important to hear this. It's important for us to hear this. People think it's like, a couple of weeks, No.
I think it was even more than 2 years. I think they were at it for about 3 years or so, since the time all these Guneet and Mark came on board, and everybody had a look at it. But Mark told me that by the time he approved it, it had gone through umpteen drafts. And I said, really? Because it just looks like a very simple film. And that's how beautiful it is, because the script has been written like that. And then they don't deviate from it, then they stick to it. So it's great. It's a great experience, yeah.
So I'm just saying this, but in the future, we want to do things where we get, lots of filmmakers back again who've written their stories, and we have this roundtable with, people, all of you who've written, and you share your impressions on writing, on the writing part. Okay, so we'll do that, this roundtable, and you're invited. Obviously, you're invited. It would be very, very interesting, even for us to learn about how your mind works and how you work on it, and and obviously there's Nalin's film out right now, obviously chosen for India for the Oscars, and how he would work, or lots of filmmakers where you feel, okay, it looks simple, the guy on his photos, he's walking around, and then you don't know what he's doing, sitting in his office all the whole night at his table,
Yeah.
So it's important. It's important. These things are important. You said at the beginning that you now, as an actor, you're working on various projects, and that will be coming out and stuff. Sounds fantastic. Tell us a bit more. What are these projects?
I decided to come this year and relocate into India and do a complete rookie's entry, a startup in the film industry, do auditions and explore the whole web space in commercial cinema and independent cinema as an actor. And I started doing a lot of auditions. I got very lucky with 3 auditions. So I'm going to do I've done a film with Sudhanshu Saria, who's done LOEV on Netflix, which is on Gay Love. This is a film on women. It's on a lot of women, and how each woman is a different, is totally different, and they come in all shapes and sizes and personality traits, and I'm one such woman. It's a great role, small role, but it's an absolutely amazing role. I was very blessed to get that. Then I've done Made in Heaven season 2. I got 1 episode, which is going to be out next year, which is again a much anticipated show on Amazon, because season 2 has been delayed quite a bit. Season 1 was a huge hit. It's a Zoya Akhtar production. And I got a lovely episode, again directed by Neeraj Gerwan, who's a Masan director.
Right.
So I was honored to work with him in that. Even if it was 1 episode, he did a lot of work with me, and I'm totally honored to have learned.
So that's finished. That's over.
That's over, and it'll be out again next year, February, March. The show, the season 2, And then The Good Wife is being remade in India, which is very exciting for Disney Hotstar. And Kajol is the lead protagonist. She's the lead, I think, probably the biggest role of her career to be getting that the Good Wife protagonist. And yeah, I play a High Court judge in a very, very critical episode. So I worked with amazing actors for the shoot, again with Supan Verma, who's a director, who's done Family Man, who's the writer, director of Family Man and many other great series in India. So again, an amazing experience. So I'm just enjoying my journey. And these are experiences as I grow into my actor, producer, writer, director journey, working with 4 cameras in the Disney production with real lawyers on set and with some 500 people, including the fact that my whole courthouse I was a judge, so I had a whole courthouse full of clerks and people and lawyers, and quite an experience. So I'm just, these are just things I'm storing away to one day do my own film.
Super. So you're writing your feature.
Yes.
Okay. And this, you just said, if I'm not mistaken, that you were also talking to French co-producers.
I have all
maybe?
these French partners, Mark, Golda,
Yes.
One stage, some stage I'll involve you in it. It's a story close to my heart. It's a story about 4 women, who live in Singapore and who come into India based on an event that happens with one of them. And how just being in India and being in McLeodganj, Dharamshala, it changes each of their lives. Each of them has a story. So yeah, it's something that I want to do eventually.
You're busy writing it, etc. And you're okay. So
yes, every time I talk to anybody, they said the amount of passion you have, again, you should direct it. So I have to do a few more short films to get or direct some more films. But we'll see at what scale it gets accepted and launched, and then we'll see who does it. So yeah, it's a story in development, work in progress.
Well, it's wonderful. It's lovely to see that you're doing all these things. It's always wonderful seeing you at Cannes with new projects, with the film that you brought to Cannes. Just give me a few lines on that film. Because this year you brought a film.
Yeah, Country of Blind is still in post-production. Country of Blind is a famous story by H.G. Wells about a valley full of sightless people who, this one guy falls in there, that whole statement about in a country of blind, a one-eyed man is king. So it's based on that story. It was shot in this amazing place, Dudhpatri in Kashmir. We all play sightless people who are ultimately, the story is about how these sightless people have such evolved senses that we turn out to be a lot more powerful and conscious than that guy who can see. So vision is possibly one of the reasons why humanity is where it is. We kind of judge a lot through our eyes, and we all the materialism and all of the judgment about age and gender and all of that happens because we can see. If we couldn't see, I wouldn't know how old you were or how old I was, and we would just kind of go by our voices, and we would sing songs. And so it's about that kind of story. It's very beautiful. And that's in post-production. And then after that we got another film there, which we were talking about, was Before Life, After Death. As I told you, we shot it in Singapore, a story about 2 Indian families, first time told out of Singapore, Indian story, one of a lower social class and one of a expat class, and how the 2 come together, 2 women. It's a very women-centric story, and how 2 women from both those classes come together to solve some pretty big crisis that is happening in each of their lives. So it's a very, very intense human drama.
So these 2 films are not finished yet?
No, yeah. So one is under post-production, and the Before Life, After Death just finished and is going to go through a festival circuit. So keep our fingers crossed. And then
super, wonderful, lovely. So you're staying busy writing this feature, having an eye on your post-production for all these films coming out, plus you getting into all this that's happening in Mumbai with all the platforms. We wish you only the best, lots of luck, and good, wonderful things, so that you get things that meet your, needs, your wishes, requirements, the talent that you have, and that you, yeah, Mumbai also recognizes you as a producer with, you know, the level of vision that you have. I think it's pretty rare to have all these qualities in one person in this profession in Mumbai in cinema. Being a woman is already, it is difficult already. You're coming into something, you know, and then all these other things around you, and you sticking on and finding your space, doing these beautiful things. I think it's super important that you've now got your place, huh?
And thank you for the support from, I think, the first time I met you in 2000 and what was that, 18? Yes. From that time, we just bonded, and we bonded. We've not always been together, but we bonded strangely, and even during COVID times. And
you know, it was so, I was so fortunate to be in you know, in this beautiful ambience, which looked so glam like Cannes as usually, and then I have a film like Basée, and I was like, just because I have this very arty film, we need the most glam place for this, because this décalage that you understand, I understand, Abe understands, Dave, Ashish understands, Manoj understands, because we're a mix of so many different things, you know. It just made sense.
It was beautiful.
It made sense.
Beautiful. I recently posted my photo with Manoj. It came up on my Google. Yeah.
You know, these are what make our people understand where we're going. We're going in a very special direction. All of us, just, you know, our vibes clicked.
Yes.
And that's making sense. And I'm seeing India going into this direction and opening a door which was never open before. There's a door that opened with the platforms, OTT platforms, and another door is opening with the sensitivities. Another thing is open with the VFX that people have now understood, with whatever, Brahmastra, whatever it is. I'm in the thing where Ayan is going to realize that, yes, I need to go back to the writing table. Yes, I need to write the two, you know, part 2 and part 3 beautifully, so that no one says anything to me.
Yes, yes, yes.
He has such a gem in his hand. Now he's got to use it in a beautiful way, you know. And so all this is so promising. It's super promising. And there's space for everyone. I think that that's super interesting.
Yes, yes, it is very exciting. If you just stay in the mix and stay in the game, and it's very exciting. Yeah, it's very exciting.
You know, because if you have a thing like The Good Wife from maybe Bollywood 15 years ago would not have catered to something like that. And now we're going in directions where we wouldn't have thought we would go. So see, that's lovely. But see, it's also coming because there's people like you bringing these things for people to see.
Yes, yes. And the audience is getting more receptive, much more receptive to all of this stuff, and multilingual, and, you know, we're all watching every language now that's under the sun. So that's beautiful as well. That's beautiful as well.
Thanks a million for everything that you're doing and sharing it with us, your film, but everything else that you're going to be giving us, because it's interesting. We're learning, we're educating ourselves, we're becoming better people, more open. There's so much to learn, and the messages and the social awareness, all this is so vital, and you're doing it through cinema, so we're super receptive. Now, once we open our house and our hearts, our house is Grenoble Indian Film Festival, you know, you can come back anytime.
Yes.
This is your house.
Yes.
And we love you and leave you, but are super grateful and expect you one day to come visit us in Grenoble. Who knows? Crossing our fingers.
Yes, yes. Throw the intention out. It will happen.
So please take care, and all the best for everything, and see you soon.
Yes, yes.
Thanks a million. Goodbye. Bye. Bye.
Love you. Bye.